We've all done it, right? Probably 1,000 times. You tap your card, you hear that little beep, and you just walk away with your stuff. It feels completely instant, almost like magic. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the incredible high-speed performance that happens right behind that simple tap.
So what is actually going on in those few seconds? I mean, how does the store really know your card is good, and how do they eventually get paid? Well, the answer is way more complex and, honestly, a lot more fascinating than you probably think. The best way to wrap your head around it is to think of it like a perfectly choreographed three-act play. Each act has a specific job, a different cast of characters, and the whole thing unfolds in the time it takes you to slide that card back into your wallet. So let's get into it. Act 1, this is all about pure, unadulterated speed. It's called authorization, and it's that first, lightning-fast request to see if you can even make this purchase in the first place. Okay, so check out this journey. When you tap your card, that little terminal in the store zips a message over to the store's bank. That's the acquirer. The acquirer immediately forwards it to a card network, like Visa or MasterCard. Think of them as the super efficient traffic cops of the financial world. They instantly route that message right to your bank, the issuer. And this entire round trip, we're talking milliseconds. It's just wild. So the moment your bank gets that ping, it runs this crazy fast security check. It's basically asking three things at once. First, is this card even legit and active? Second, is there enough money or credit in the account to cover this? And third, does this purchase look weird? Based on all their fraud detection models, does it seem suspicious? If it gets three yeses, your bank fires an approval code all the way back down the line, the terminal beeps, you get the green light, and you're on your way. But, and this is the big twist of Act 1, not a single penny has actually moved. Seriously. All that's happened is that your bank has made a promise that it will pay later. And that promise brings us right to Act 2, clearing. This is the part of the show that happens completely behind the scenes. It's the after-hours accounting, usually happening overnight, long after all the customers have gone home. This is where the real number crunching starts. So at the end of the day, the merchant bundles up every single approved transaction into one big digital file. You can think of it like a giant digital deposit slip. They send this file to their bank, which then starts swapping these files with all the different customer banks involved to make sure everyone's books are in order. Now, during this whole back and forth, something really important gets calculated, the interchange fee. It's a tiny fee that the merchant's bank pays to your bank for every single transaction. And why do they do that? Well, because your bank was the one that took all the risk by saying yes in Act 1. This fee is basically their compensation for fronting that approval. All right, let's get to the grand finale. Act 3, settlement. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. After all those high-speed promises and all that late-night accounting, this is when the money actually, finally, moves. And this really shows you the difference, right? Before this moment, the merchant is just holding a big pile of digital IOUs from a bunch of different banks. But after settlement, boom, they get the actual funds deposited right into their account. And for you, that pending transaction on your app finally becomes an official charge on your statement. And we're not just talking about a simple wire transfer here. We're talking about huge, bundled-up transfers of the net funds between all these banks. It's often handled through massive central systems like the Federal Reserve, which makes sure the entire financial network stays balanced and stable. So when you kind of zoom out and look at this whole thing, from that initial tap all the way to the final settlement, you really start to appreciate the incredible scale and, honestly, the elegance of what's happening. I mean, just try to imagine it. Millions of these little three-act plays are happening at the same time, all day, every day. Billions of dollars are moving around the globe, and every single step is being logged, checked, and settled. The sheer volume of data being managed in real time is just staggering. Which brings me to what I think is just the perfect description for all of this. It truly is a global database ballet. Every single player, the terminal, the network, the banks, they all know their steps perfectly. Every piece of data moves with absolute precision, all of it choreographed in real time to give you that seamless, magical experience at the checkout counter. So this beautiful ballet runs on trust and on some mind-bogglingly complex systems. It's fast, it's elegant, it works almost every time. But that does leave us with one last question to chew on. What happens when a dancer slips? What happens when the choreography goes wrong? Things like fraud or errors or system failures. Well, that's a whole other story.